I hate posting this. I hate sharing it because I do not like being vulnerable, but I think it's important. Why are our children suffering? Who chose them and why? It's heartbreaking, it's aggravating, it's freaking pisses me off. I just want to start off by saying that you are not alone and that there is hope and things will get better.
There's no one like you, my little girl.
Called me this morning, rather manic and swearing at me because she's been calling my mother and really upsetting my mom with a lot of the things she's saying because they're not making sense. And I try to explain to my mom not to take all that personally or not to let it upset her too much. But of course, that's Grammy. She loves her so much that it's just so upsetting to hear her talk and not make sense. I guess the reason I'm saying this is because other people that go through this probably have had to deal with the same thing. Like, it's one thing to suffer yourself and kind of suffer in silence, but it's another thing when someone you love is making another person you love suffer. Like, it just really bothers me that my mom's so upset, and I really tried to console her. And it's hard because I'm in so much pain that it's hard to console her. And she's probably in the most pain, and that's who I really want to help. And I just I don't know how. When she's in this state of mind, there's not much I can do. I was talking to my mom, and I don't imagine we're the only people that go through this. But my dad passed. My grandparents have both passed. We've had a lot of loved ones pass. And we can't understand, like, we feel like they should be watching over her. Why does this child continue to suffer? And why is nobody helping her? My mom, she has great faith, and she's like, it really makes me lose faith. And I get it, because it really makes me lose faith too sometimes. Why are our children suffering? Who chose them and why? And why isn't anyone helping them? I don't know. It's just, I wanted to share it because I know I'm not the only one, and I know I try to be positive all the time, and I will get back to that place. It's not even why me, why my child. I would much rather it be me. Like, put this shit on me. I will take it all day long. I wish I could take that pain that she's feeling. I'd take it in a heartbeat, and I know you've all probably felt this way too. It just really makes you wonder, like, I couldn't protect her. I'm not protecting her, so what the hell is my purpose here? It's my one child that I couldn't even do what I'm here to do. It's like I failed. Go to that place where, like, maybe she'd be better off without me around because I couldn't do what I was supposed to do, but I gotta stay strong. Because if something happens to me, who the hell's gonna watch out for her? I know she doesn't feel like I'm watching out for her. I am. And that's exactly why I have to stay strong, because I am probably her biggest advocate, and I have to stay strong. And we're all going to go through times like this where it feels like a lost cause because we don't see them getting better, but they will. Now, this is when you need to find the faith and say, this will get better, and I'm going to be here, and I'm going to help her get better. I hate posting this. I hate sharing it because I do not like being vulnerable, but I think it's important because we all go through it. I know every other parent goes through the same thing. It's so damned painful. Nobody knows. And I wouldn't wish it on anybody. It is so painful to watch your child suffer and know that you can't do anything but hold the faith and try to be strong. We cannot allow this goddamn disease, or whatever you want to call it, disorder, whatever it is, we're not going to let it overcome us. Still very manic. She was supposed to be released yesterday, which was Monday, but we received a bunch of manic messages, or when I say we, I mean her dad received a bunch of messages which were quite concerning. They were still planning to release her on Monday, and I called over there Monday morning. The person at her group home had already talked to them that morning. They said they were going to release her, so I called over there and I was like, absolutely not. I tried to talk to her and she was in the shower, so I called back and I said I wanted to talk to a nurse or the social worker, and the guy's like, well, we're about to go into a meeting. And I said, well, then if a staff meeting, and I said, well, if you're going to a staff meeting, I want you to tell them that I called, that I'm really concerned because it does not sound like she's ready to be released today, that she should not be walking the streets. If they release her and something happens to her, that's on them, because I was so worried that they'd release her too soon and something would happen, because I knew she'd take off. She'd probably go try to get marijuana and things would get worse. As much as I hate her in that godforsaken hospital where they've been nothing but rude, they don't say much to me. Every time I call, it's still, well, we don't know if we can talk to you, if there's a release. It's like, really, you people should know by now that her dad and I have guardianship. I feel like the whole staff should know that by now if they've read the notes and whatnot, because I have to say it every time I call. So it's frustrating. I've been frustrated. I've been angry. I can't even tell you. My heart breaks listening to these calls that she's giving to her dad, asking for help, but also rambling just odd, things that don't make sense. It's heartbreaking. It's aggravating. It's freaking pisses me off. But I'm trying to switch my thought process. So I really need to stop focusing on my anger and everything that's happening negative, and I really need to switch this around, and I need to start imagining her coming out of it, good things coming, because whenever I switch that focus, it seems to happen. So I'm saying today that focus is being switched, and we'll see what happens from here. I've been at the hospital for 3 weeks. They were going to release her last Monday, and I called and said I didn't think it was safe. So they were going to release her today, this Monday, which is today. And again, I did not feel that it was safe for her to be released. I spoke to the nurse yesterday. Apparently she had to be in solitary for a day because she was acting out, and they want to release her. It's like, so today I had to call and talk to the social worker over there, who the social worker she's been working with is on vacation, so this is a different guy. But anyway, spoke to him for quite some time, and I felt like I wasn't getting anywhere, and in one breath he's telling me, well, she really needs more than what we can provide, and they feel like they've done what they could, and she really needs something more intensive, is what he was saying. More intensive than the group home, because I said, you guys are going to release her and she's going to go right back out. She's going to get marijuana, she's going to use it, and then this is going to cycle and it's going to be even longer. So she's going to be right back where she is now, and I don't even know if you guys will have an opening at that point. You probably will have filled it. So I don't think it's safe for her to be out in the community, especially she was in solitary like this weekend. Give me a break. It was, I guess, sobering to hear that, well, she really needs to be in a locked facility where she can't go out, and more of a restrictive environment. It's like, really, dude? Have you checked out these facilities? Like, there is no more restrictive environment, and she certainly isn't willing to go to one. The plan is to release her tomorrow. The group home doesn't think she's ready. I don't think she's ready. I can't seem to get her father to call. He's been on vacation, so I get it. He was enjoying time with his healthy kids, which he deserves, and so do they. But he's really just, he hasn't interacted with her at all. And I feel like he's thrown his hands up. Like, he was supposed to visit her and she got put in the hospital instead. And she knowingly went and used marijuana, which got her there. So I think he's sort of given up, and this is what happens. He's an all or nothing kind of guy. So he's either 100% in or he's 100% out. And unfortunately, we're on the out side of things. So I'm not really getting, I asked him to call and support me in this decision, but I've not heard a thing. So I don't know if I'm guessing that's not going to happen. So I've got to pull up my guardianship papers, see what exactly I have for rights, because I believe they're going to release her before she's ready. They have not been able to get her to her baseline, and that's where she needs to be before getting released. So I'm not in the best frame of mind. I know I always say stay positive, and I will. I've got to get back onto that. But it's just been like 3 days of rain. I haven't talked to her. She's not talking to me. It's sad. It's heartbreaking. We're having all these, it's summer. Like, she should be out enjoying life, and this is just frustrating. I got a call this morning from the social worker saying that they would be releasing her at 2 o'clock, and I expressed the same concerns that I had yesterday, that I did not feel it was safe, that I know she's not near baseline because she's still wanting to put a restraining order out, and she's just got that paranoid thinking. She is not doing better, but I reiterated I didn't agree with it. I wanted it to go in the record that I thought it was they were putting her in danger by releasing her too soon. But they called back and she said, I went in to meet with her and talk to her a little bit about your concerns. I let her know I thought, you guys know her better, and we had to take that into consideration. And of course, that set her right off. So she went into the whole hysteria of how horrible we are. I'm sure she went into her abusive past and everything she thinks that we've done that's awful. And then she tried to fire the social worker, apparently, because the social worker was listening to us. So they blue papered her, and she's staying. I just want to start off by saying that you are not alone, and that there is hope, and things will get better. Yesterday, I got the call I knew I would get from my little cherub, and she was very, very, very unhappy with me because they told her at the hospital the reason she wasn't going is because of me. Part of that is true. No, don't really think they should be telling her that, but that's okay, whatever. I listened for probably 25 minutes to her screaming and yelling at me, telling me she hates me more than anything. Probably told me she hated me 50 times or so. Just on and on, how I'm a horrible person, a horrible parent. She's hated me since she came out of me, is what she's saying. She hates her father too, but she hates me more. She called DHS on me. She's putting a restraining order out on me. I am to never talk to her or visit her. I did remind her in the phone call that she's the one that called me. I do my best not to harass her because I don't want to get her upset, so I don't call her unless she calls me and leaves a message or tells me she wants me to call. So I reminded her, well, you called me and you're the one still on the phone, and I'm not going to hang up. But she reiterated how much she hated me. But I'm telling you, every time she said it, it didn't faze me. And of course, in the past, it was very hurtful, and I took it very personally. But now I know better. So I just said, well, I'm sorry you feel that way, but I love you. And she'd go on, and I'd say, guess what? Love trumps hate. Love is stronger than hate, and my love for you is stronger than your hatred towards me. So it's okay. You can feel the way you want, but I'm always going to love you. That love's unconditional. And of course, that made her upset. No, you don't love me. You don't do anything for me. You don't pay for anything. You don't do this. You don't do that. And again, in one ear, out the other, I was just happy to hear her voice. And I was able to turn off that emotional response, because in my head, I kept saying, just give love. Just overdo the love. Give as much love as you can. We need to drown out the hate with the love, the darkness with the light, so to speak. And the other thing is, as awful as the things she was saying, I know that this is a step in the right direction, because she did call me and talk to me. And that means she is on the mend, and that she isn't quite ready, but I think within a few days she will be. So that is positive. Yesterday, reading my Course in Miracles and everything, I just felt this powerful surge of allowing God to do his thing, which I've talked about. And last night when I came home from work, I watched the sunset as I thought about that light and that love. And I watched the moon last night, which was beautiful. And then I went outside to look at the moon, and it was, you could just see a tiny piece of it because of fog. But as I looked at it, it came out of the fog, and it was so bright and so beautiful. And it was only there for a couple seconds, but it was almost like the universe was sending me a signal. And at that point, I knew what was going to come next was and this is going to sound crazy to some people, but I'm just throwing it out there because this is true. When I lose all hope, my sign that things are going okay are usually a cardinal and a blue jay together. And that's been going on for quite some time. But even more so is this rabbit that comes in the backyard. And that comes only a handful of times a year. And I knew that rabbit was going to be here this morning. And the last time it was here was, I think this is the second time this summer that I've seen it. And I've thought about it a lot, and I get really discouraged when I don't see the rabbit. But I knew in my heart of hearts that that rabbit was going to be here today, and that was going to be the universe telling me that I'm on the right track and that I'm doing the right thing. And that rabbit is still out there. It's been out there all morning. And I really wasn't surprised, but man, was I grateful. The symbol that rabbit represents, it represents hope, it represents faith, and it represents God to me. And I can't even tell you how good that feels. I haven't felt this good in a long time. That's why I want to share it. The birds are all over the place outside. Chipmunks frolicking around. Like, I'm at a new level right now. And I want to bring everyone with me. And I want to give you that hope, and just rest assured that it is mindset. And you have to get yourself in the right frame of mind for things to change. So I look at the story that I have and this awful history of this sickness, and I recognize that I have some control over it, that I are one mind. We all are. I do believe it. We are all one mind, that we have somehow separated and hidden in these little bodies, and we've developed our own illusional reality with these bodies. And there is a bigger part of us that comes through God, and we need to get back to that. And that is the message that I feel compelled to give. And we need to unite together, and we need to recognize that we do have some control over this. We just need to connect to our higher self, our one self, and awaken from this nightmare, pretty much. So I'm looking at these signs as starting to wake up, and things will get better. And I just send you all so much love, because as much hate as you have felt coming your way, love is stronger. Show that to your loved one who might be showing you hate. Don't let it get to you. Just know you can flood the hate with love. You can shine the light on the darkness. You have that power. That power will come through God. So let it come through to you. I love you all so much. And I just hope this helps even one person out there.
Your eyes so blue under those brown